You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Talking about the scrimmage, right? Unfortunately, when you do inter-squad, as one side goes up, the other must go down. Occasionally there's that balance, but for the most part, it's one side goes up, the other goes down, right? And this was the case on Saturday. I think scrimmage one, I think you saw more of a balance. Like defense had their moments, offense had their moments, and it was really just kind of a draw. This one was definitely not a draw. The offense was pretty bad. I'm just going to be honest. The offense was bad. They were stagnant. They couldn't score until later. They couldn't protect. It was brutal. It was brutal. And honestly, I think what I said about the offensive line just taking time to gel and taking time to learn, when you have some of these down the line guys, some of these new guys, that it's not a light bulb, man. It just doesn't click on very fast sometimes. And the chemistry is not there because I think you're trying to figure out who fits where in the second and third units. And you just don't know. And guys get out of place. And the defense, obviously, those guys know what to do. Those guys are more reactionary. Those guys can play faster because it's really just a couple assignments here and really it's just go at the end of the day. But with switching sides, understanding and figuring out where these defenders are going to be, they struggled. The offensive line they just flat out struggled. And that was one of those things where you can chalk it up to them just not gelling. You could chalk it up to some blown assignments. You can chalk it up to the defensive line on some plays just made the play and the offensive line did not. But when your offensive line is playing very, very poorly, it makes it tough to really do anything. Like the quarterback position was live, and they just couldn't really seem to get much going. Nate Berlowitz couldn't get much going at all. Drew Dickey was kind of dreadful. Like he's hustling backwards right now. Jack Elliott looked like a freshman. Will Muschamp, poor guy, has a nice drive and then just gets pummeled, sack fumble. His confidence got shaken. Jeremy St. Hilaire had some nice moments. He gets crushed. I mean, these guys were just getting mauled. The backs, they flashed occasionally. They couldn't do much. The receivers were kind of non-existent because it's tough to be a receiver when your quarterback's getting, destroyed all the time. So it's not good. It's not good. But the good news out of all that, right? You have a pretty pitiful day, truthfully, offensively. But the good news is about that is it's August 18th. The season starts August 29th, and you got time to kind of fix it. And you got some answers. You've got some questions. You had some questions. You have some answers. And now you have some even bigger questions. So I think when you look at the film and you evaluate, now you know kind of where to go. Now you know what to hone in on. Now these guys are going to understand. These quarterbacks can also, they can understand, okay, well, my protection is going to be bad here. It's going to be good there. Maybe I should, learn how to check, things like that. I think the running backs will be able to get a feel for it. And I think these offensive linemen will grow. This is a growth opportunity for them, right? And that's why I'm not pressing the panic button. It's so easy to say, good Lord, if we have a starter go down, we're screwed. But honestly, you're missing 11 You're missing 11 guys, 11 key pieces on offense. I don't think if you're in that situation, it's going to be rough for you. I don't care who's it. I think if you stripped most programs in America, if you strip their top 11, if you strip the entire starting lineup and said, hey, go win with backups, I think they would all experience the same thing on the offensive line. I guarantee you. Hell, Georgia had some injuries last year, and they underperformed on the offensive line. Granted, underperforming for them was losing in the quarterfinal to Notre Dame in the college football playoff after winning the SEC. But they were able to play enough complementary football throughout the year to get to that point. But the dam just broke once Notre Dame was there. So you just got to learn from it now. And I think this is all going full circle. This all goes back to load management, right? You wouldn't have these answers if you played those other guys in the scrimmage. You wouldn't have these answers. Now you know, right? At the school I teach at, they were able to find in the scrimmages, they were able to get guys in and find out who is doing what and who can, and they improved, right? And I think Vanderbilt will improve overall because at some point they're going to need these guys to step into a role, especially on the offensive line. They're going to need Sterling Porsche. They're going to need Nate Azubuike. They're going to need some of these other guys. It's going to happen. There's going to be something. There's going to be an injury. There's going to be something. One of these guys is going to have to step in. So why not learn now? Why not see the film? As bad as it is, just watch it and say, okay, it's what it did. Let's fix it. Right? And that's all you got. I mean, that's all you got to take away from it. It's a learning opportunity for these guys. It's a scrimmage. You're playing against a stacked deck. You're playing against a defense that knows your offense almost better than you do. And so am I worried? A little. Okay. It's concerning. Yes. It's concerning that the quarterbacks were so bad. It's concerning that the offensive line was so bad that they didn't even let the quarterbacks try to be good in a lot of cases. Is it concerning? Yes. But those concerns will get fixed. And it's not time. You don't need to ring any alarm bells. You don't. The headlines go, "Oh, there's 2-10 incoming." Right? You don't need to do all that. None of the starters played. You have a tight end. You have a tight end dependent offense that didn't play their top 3 tight ends. Played some developmental guys and some guys that probably will never get in ever. So, am I worried? Just a little bit. Am I concerned? Just a little bit. Am I panicking? No. But I am excited about the defense. I think it goes twofold. I know you, and I'll leave you with this. I know you'll probably well, you can't be super excited about the defense and be not panicked about the offense. It's an overreach on both sides. Yeah, if somebody does extremely well and surprises you, you can be excited about that. But if somebody does extremely poorly, I don't think it's the end of the world in this scenario. It's a learning opportunity. And they'll get better. They will. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. Speaking of answers, man, have you ever been dehydrated? Man, do you know how that feels? Man, it is awful. And when I'm on top of my hydration, though, I notice everything works better. Like my energy's better, my mood, my focus, even my skin. And those of you watching right now could probably go back through my Rolodex of shows. I don't know if anybody's going to be crazy enough to do this, but go back through my Rolodex of shows and find out when I was truly dehydrated and when I was well hydrated. I bet you can tell the difference, right? But honestly, getting enough fluids every day isn't always easy. That's why I've been using DripDrop. That's why I love DripDrop. DripDrop is doctor developed and scientifically proven for fast hydration. It uses the perfect balance of sodium electrolytes and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of a leading sports drink. So my go-to flavor is that citrus flavor. It's just citrus. It's a game changer after a workout, or just if I'm having a busy day and I don't have time to really sit down or refill my water a bunch of times, I just throw this. I just drop I like the variety packs, honestly. There's a lot of flavors I like, but I'll just rip up one of those things, drop it in my drink, and hey, let's go, man. And I keep a few on me at all times in my backpack. It's a game changer, right? I get that midday crash. I can feel it coming. Drop one of those things in there. It gives me a little boost. It's not necessarily specifically designed for an energy boost, but the hydration that it provides gives me that focus, makes me sharp, makes me feel like I'm back alive, right? So it's my go-to. And right now, DripDrop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. Just head to DripDrop.com and use promo code LockedOnCollege. That's DripDrop.com, promo code LockedOnCollege for $20 or 20% off, Stock up now before the heat hits hard. Thanks for watching Locked On Vandy. Remember, you can follow the show at Locked On Vandy on all social media platforms. You can follow myself at Coach Burton 36. Like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Find us anywhere you find your podcast as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Anchor down. Peace out.